I want to talk about this and focus on this. The new Pearl Jam record. We've been hearing about it. We featured Pearl Jam on our list of most anticipated albums of 2019 at wehm.com. We featured them on our list of most anticipated albums of 2018 as well. We had a nice little piece on Pearl Jam in the latest Rolling Stone. So let's touch on a couple of things that the band said and give you an update on where the album writing process is. I feel, and this is personal feeling here, I don't think we're going to get a record from this group in 2019. I felt a lot more optimistic about it before this little piece came out. But after hearing, some of the quotes that I'm going to read to you, I don't have a great feeling about it anymore. Last week we talked a whole bunch about Chris Cornell and, his passing. We had the big Chris Cornell concert, and he really sort of ties into the band as one of the reasons. Not like Chris Cornell's to blame for a lack of a Pearl Jam record, but definitely his passing has affected this band in a major way, and we're seeing that in some of the comments that come through. Jeff Ament actually told Rolling Stone, let's start here, and I quote, "It's just been slow going. It'd be fun to record or even just write a song together. I think when Chris passed, that's really been a tough one to wrap our heads around. And then there's just life stuff." Jeff, Stone, and Matt were all at that concert last week. And Mike and Eddie weren't, but they've been very vocal about the passing of Chris Cornell. Jeff even served as the creative director for the Chris Cornell box set project. He worked alongside his brother, Barry, screen printing watercolor portraits of Cornell as part of the artwork. He said about that project, this is from Jeff, and I quote, "That was hard. Vicky had asked me to get involved with it, and over the course of the years, Chris would often reach out. I remember with Audio Slave, they had a record, a couple of his solo records. He would send me the artwork. Even that last solo record, I mocked up some ideas. I think he appreciated my sensibilities when it came to that stuff, so it was pretty hard to go down that path, creating that stuff and listening to the music. It's just another reminder that he's not here, and that just sucks. It really sucks." However, with all that stuff about Cornell, Stone Gossard says he's ready to hit the studio, saying, and I quote, "We're going to make a record, and we're in the middle of it. We're just going to keep plugging away until we've got one done." Ament revealed that the band has gone in probably 4 or 5 times over the last couple of years, which has resulted in, quote, "a whole ton of unfinished stuff." One of those songs being Can't Deny Me, which managed to surface last year. Ament added on that, "We're just sort of in a little bit of limbo. I'm sure everybody's got a bunch more riffs, and I'm sure Ed's got a handful of journal lyrics. It's just going to take us all getting into a room together for 6 weeks and just knocking something out." Ament said he's been writing plenty of material lately, which could either be used for a Pearl Jam or one of his forthcoming solo releases. He said on that subject, quote, "When I do those, it's mostly to clean off the shelves and finish stuff. It's stuff that has been on the Pearl Jam shelf for a few years, and nobody is really responding to it. I think all of us have gotten into the habit of finishing stuff up and putting it out. This is a broken record, but I think I've said that I would record a lot more with Pearl Jam if that was what could happen. It just hasn't happened for some reason." And it's not that, Pearl Jam's just being lazy. They've done a ton of stuff, with the baseball stadium concerts last year. There's a lot of, Eddie was in Africa, the school charity thing that he does. There's a ton of things that Pearl Jam is doing. They're super active. It just seems like, to what Jeff said, getting that time in the studio together seems to be the tough and difficult part. And when that's not really like a sense of urgency, when life is kind of getting in the way and all these other things are getting in the way, something like this can get pushed aside. So we'll see what happens. But again, it seems like they're all doing their own things. They all have their own solo things going on, life or professional, whatever. And then there's other Pearl Jam business to attain to. It feels like that recording time just getting pushed to the back. And that makes me feel like, maybe not. Because when you think about it, they're going to need a good 2 months to do he said it right there, right? Six weeks. It's a good 2 months to record the thing. And then you got to figure out a time to put it out. If they're not in the studio now, next couple of weeks, nobody said anything about that. So let's say it's January, and January, it's February, March, April. Let's say April, May, they can get into the studio. May, June, you're into July. If all goes well and it's perfect and everything else, I mean, maybe like the earliest we can probably see something is fall into winter. And, and that's not if they don't like it or they want to go back and try something different or they want to this or that. I mean, it's weird to say, but you can easily see something like this getting pushed back into 2020. So we'll keep our eye on it. But don't be surprised if you go to WEHM.com on January 3rd, 2020, and you see Pearl Jam on the list of most anticipated albums of the year. We'll follow that up. If they go into the studio, if we hear anything different, we will be sure to have it for you right here on The Morning Show with Anthony.